What's going on, people? This is just another quick update on Cardano ADA. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that the price action of Cardano has been interesting over the last day or so, given that we have seen a price action of about 7.5% to the upside. And we're at a crucial stage right now, given that we have managed to find some support at the 200 EMA. And yeah, there is a key target really that I'm keeping an eye on as things stand, and that's this target here, sitting at, we'll call it 8 cents for now. And so should the price of Cardano ADA end up breaching past the 8 cent level, then I think that could potentially confirm our wave 2. However, should we not breach past the 8 cent level and find resistance, then there is a possibility that we are going to see a continuation to the downside. Now, in my previous video, I talked about how within this WXY structure that we are tracking, that, with our wave Y breaching the wave 2 target, that there is a possibility that the wave 2 has been confirmed. However, a couple of videos ago, I talked about how a potential WXYZ setup is at play. And so, yeah, it will be interesting to see, which scenario plays out. And as things stand at the moment, smart money concept is indicating that there is a weak low at that 73 cent level, and so there is a possibility that we will continue to see moves to the downside. And should that be the case, then a potential WXYZ setup is at play. Now, in addition to that, we do have our fair value gaps sitting between that 75 cent level and 76 cents, along with that 73 cent level and 74 cent level. And so there is some buying opportunity within these regions here. And so essentially what that tells me is the likelihood of us continuing to find some support at that 200 EMA is unlikely, and we'll continue to see moves to the downside. Now, what's also interesting about this is within this setup here, I see a three-wave move, which is a WXY, like so. And within this Y wave, I see a 5-wave move to the upside, like so. We have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Now, to do some quick sense checks, the wave 3 would typically be a 1.618 retracement of our wave 1. And as you can see, we ended up breaching past that region. And so that wave 3, we can say, has been confirmed. And assuming that the wave 4 has also been confirmed, we can track our wave 5. And our wave 5 will typically sit anywhere between 1.236 and 1.618 of our wave 4. And so anywhere within this region here. And so there is, some room to the upside to complete this wave 5 before we see moves to the downside. Now, what's also interesting about this is the targets for our wave 5 actually sits below the 8 cent level that I'm currently tracking. And so there is some possibility that we could find some rejection at that 8 cent level and see more room to the downside. Now, in addition to that, one thing that has caught my eye is the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. Now, the 50 EMA is on the brink of actually crossing the 200 EMA, like so, something like that. And that's also known as a golden cross, which is a bullish tail. And the last time that we saw a similar action was around this stage, and shortly after we saw moves to the upside. But prior to that happening, we did see this dip here. And so what I'm wondering is if we see a similar scenario play out where we see the golden cross, and then we see a dip within this region here to complete our Z wave that could be potentially at play. And then we see moves to the upside where we can now start to track our wave 3. Now, should the WXYZ setup be at play, just to give you an idea of what that would look like. So if I just remove some of this. Now, what that would look like is something like this, where we have a W wave, X wave, Y wave, X wave, and then a Z wave. Our Z wave would typically be a 1 to 1.236 retracement of our wave W. And so if I use my Fibonacci retracement and move this along, to here, then we can see that the Z wave would sit anywhere between 70 cents and 72 cents. So anywhere within this region here. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. So these are my targets I'll be keeping an eye on over the next couple of days. So if I just remove this now. And so, yeah, if I move on over to the 4-hour chart. Now, on the 4-hour chart, we have managed to find some support at the 50 EMA. Now, I do think the price of Cardano ADA will retest that 50 EMA level, and it's going to be interesting to see if we continue to find support or we continue to break on down towards these targets here that I'm keeping an eye on. Now, Smart Money Concept is indicating that there is a strong high, and so the likelihood of us actually breaching past the 83-cent level is unlikely. And in addition to that, on our stochastic RSI, we are reaching the overbought region, and so there is some room to the downside. Now, if I move on over to the daily chart, we have our price of Cardano ADA sitting above the 200 EMA, which is a bullish tail. It's something that we need. However, I do see a scenario playing out where we could potentially retest that 200 EMA level, which is currently sitting at 72 cents. And given that on our stochastic RSI we are overbought, there is a possibility that this scenario could play out. And so, yeah, that's just a quick update on Cardano ADA. And yeah, I think the price of Cardano ADA at the moment is a little bit choppy. I do see a scenario playing out where there is more room to the downside. And once again, the key target that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment is that 8-cent level. I do see us finding some resistance at that 8-cent level and continuing to move on down, given that we do have our fair value gaps below our 50 EMA, and so I do see us actually failing to find support at the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA and continuing to break on down, potentially reaching this target here. And should we target out the 70 cent to 72-cent range, then I do think that our wave 2 will be confirmed and we will see moves to the upside shortly after. And should that be the case, then we can start to predict our wave 3 targets. And so, yeah, that's just my quick update. And so once again, guys, thank you for tuning in and watching. If you're new, feel free to subscribe and give it a like. Take it easy, people. Peace.